As Kai touched the control panel again, his fingers trembled slightly. As he moved under the guidance of the hologram, he felt as if the ship was speaking to him. The Black Storm was not just a war vessel. It was a consciousness that penetrated Kai's mind and soul. Using the ship's powers was not only about destroying enemies, it also meant confronting the light and darkness within himself. Amid these thoughts, Kai remembered his family, whom he had lost at a young age. Their loss had been a result of the Zargorians' brutal attacks. The pain of that loss had always guided him, but now the desire for vengeance born from that pain could be both a burden and a guide. Using the power of the Black Storm, Kai was tasked not only with protecting the galaxy, but also with preserving his family's memory. As Kai wandered through the depths of the Black Storm, he heard a whisper echoing from within the ship. The whisper felt like a call from the past, familiar yet strange. When he discovered an old recording device tucked away in a corner of the ship, the feeling intensified. As he activated the device, a hologram appeared that was so powerful it felt like it could tear Kai's heart out. It was his father. "If you're listening to this, Kai," his father's voice said, laden with the weight of years, "you are now the true heir of the Black Storm. This ship is not just a war vessel. It is our family legacy, our duty." As Kai's mind overflowed with his father's words, he was suddenly transported back in time. His father had disappeared when Kai was very young. He had never imagined a time when the family secrets and duties would be his inheritance. But now, he felt this heavy responsibility on his shoulders. The connection between his family and the Black Storm was deeper than he had ever realized. His father had been forced to keep the ship's secrets and the dangers that came with it. Yet this new information created an inner conflict for Kai. On one hand, he wanted to honor his family's legacy. On the other, he feared being crushed under the weight of this legacy. After a while, Kai took a deep breath and pulled himself together. He couldn't let these challenges weaken him. The legacy of his family might be heavy, but it was his destiny. The Black Storm was not just a ship, it was also a part of his identity. The legacy his father had left him had the power to change the galaxy's fate, and it was his responsibility to wield that power correctly. Just then, the ship sensors detected movement. A group of ships was approaching the Black Storm. Kai immediately went on high alert, but as he took a closer look at the vessels, he realized they were not enemies but allied ships. These ships belonged to his father's old friends and allies. They had come to join Kai in protecting his father's legacy and saving the galaxy from the Zargorian threat. As Kai watched the arrival of his allies, a grand plan began to form in his mind. He needed to devise a strategy for the future of the galaxy. This was not just a battle. It was the beginning of a galactic rebirth. Kai could become the leader of this new era by using the power of the Black Storm and the loyalty of his allies. On the bridge of the Black Storm, an intense silence prevailed. The deep darkness of space surrounding the ship only heightened the tension inside. Kai looked at the control panel of the Black Storm. The holographic screens displayed a flow of data from every part of the ship. But tonight, something felt different. The Black Storm seemed to be vibrating as if preparing to reveal the secrets it harbored. Ilara spoke without taking her eyes off the screen. "Something's wrong. There's activity in the ship's systems. It's trying to protect itself," she said. As the lights inside the ship suddenly flickered off and on, everyone on the bridge jolted. There was a glitch in the holograms, and then a voice emanated from the ship's central computer. "Secret protocols activated. Access restricted," said the metallic voice. Kai immediately moved towards the control panel. "What does this mean? Aren't we in control of the ship?" he asked, his voice rising in frustration. Ilara looked at the screens intently. The ship might not want its secrets to be exposed. "It's trying to protect the power it holds," she said, her eyes never leaving the screen. Kai struggled to accept this new situation. If it's protecting its secrets, how are we supposed to proceed? How will we earn its trust? He asked, worried. At that moment, a holographic representation of the Black Storm appeared in the center of the bridge. This was a conscious part of the ship. The translucent figure was both imposing and eerie. Its eyes seemed to pierce into the souls of Kai and his crew. "I am the essence of the Black Storm. You wish to access the ship's secrets. But this will not be easy," said the holographic figure, its voice deep and resonant. Kai took a step towards the hologram. "We're here to save the galaxy. We need the ship's power. If we work together, we can stop the Zargorians," he said, his voice resolute. Ilara took a deep breath. The Black Storm isn't just a ship. It holds ancient technologies. These technologies are not just for offense or defense. And right now, it's resisting our approach to its secrets, she said. As Kai and the crew progressed through the dark corridors of the Black Storm, the atmosphere inside became increasingly dense. The walls seemed to breathe lightly as if exhaling a deep sigh. The air was charged with electricity, causing everyone's hairs to stand on end. Every corner and twist of the ship felt like it was hiding a piece of a mystery. Kai, feeling the weight of the questions in his mind, walked with his crew towards the heart of the ship. The hidden rooms and unknown sections of the ship held not only danger but also great power. Every step brought them closer to both answers and new threats. Ilara walked alongside, examining the strange symbols on the walls. "These symbols are in a language I've never seen before," she said, narrowing her eyes. Kai joined Ilara and looked at the symbols. These could be the ship's oldest records. "Maybe they tell the origin of the Black Storm," he said, placing his hand on the wall to feel the symbols. Just then, Jax, a young technician from the crew, called out from the front. "There's something here. It looks like a door," he said excitedly. Kai and Ilara rushed to Jax. Indeed, an old metallic door stood before them. The symbols on the door resembled those on the walls but were more complex. Beside the door, there was a fingerprint-like scanner. Without hesitation, Kai placed his hand on the scanner. After a brief pause, the door began to slowly open. A faint breeze carrying an ancient scent emerged from inside. Beyond the door, the dark interior of a room became visible. The air inside was colder than in other areas. It was as if this place was forgotten by time. The crew entered the room cautiously. In the center of the room stood a large crystalline structure. Inside the crystal, an energy core spun continuously. With each rotation, a blue light spread across the walls, casting shadows that danced in strange shapes. Kai approached the crystal. "Is this the heart of the ship?" he murmured. Ilara circled the crystal carefully, saying, "This is the ship's energy source. But it's not just an energy source. It could also be a type of memory repository. The Black Storm might be storing all its history and secrets here." Jax, gazing at the crystal in awe, added, "If that's true, this ship is not just a vessel. It's a being that will shape the fate of the galaxy." Kai noticed a console next to the crystal. The symbols on the console were more complex than those he had seen before. Yet, he felt a sense that he somehow knew the meaning of these symbols. Something within him stirred, as if the ship were communicating with him. Placing his hands on the console, Kai said, "These symbols, they might be a kind of key," running his hands over the symbols. Kai took a deep breath and focused on the console. The symbols began to glow faintly, and Kai's hands moved intuitively over them. Suddenly, the energy inside the crystal began to spin faster, and the lights in the room flared. The shadows on the walls started moving as if brought to life. A beam of light emerged from the crystal, and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. The hologram was a figure resembling Kai but older and more wise-looking. "Are you ready to learn the secrets of the Black Storm?" it asked, its voice echoing through every corner of the room. Kai looked at the hologram intently. "I'm ready. I want to learn these secrets and use this power to protect the galaxy," he said resolutely. Ilara approached the hologram and said, "We will use this power to protect the galaxy, to stop the Zargorians and bring peace." The hologram turned to Ilara and said, "Then you will have all the information needed to complete this mission. But remember, you are not alone on this journey. There are forces within the ship that will aid you, but there are also dark forces that will try to stop you." Kai looked into the hologram's eyes and said, "No matter what happens, we will uncover the secrets of the Black Storm and save the galaxy," his voice firm and strong. Kai and the crew gathered around the heart of the Black Storm, the crystal structure. After the hologram vanished, a heavy silence settled over the room, like a thick fog. Yet this silence was filled with a tense anticipation. They were on the brink of uncovering the ship's secrets. Ilara, glancing at her devices, said, "The crystal isn't just an energy source. It contains information recorded throughout galactic history. This information could reveal the true purpose of the Black Storm. Jax approached the crystal and said, "Feel it. This energy isn't just fuel, it's a kind of consciousness," his eyes sparkling with excitement. Kai examined the symbols once more and then decisively pressed several buttons. The energy core within the crystal began spinning rapidly, casting lights onto every surface in the room. The walls filled with glowing symbols, which suddenly came to life. The symbols seemed to dance in harmony with Kai's hands. Suddenly, a powerful energy wave burst from the crystal. The crew had to step back momentarily, but Kai did not stop. He placed his hands on the console, trying to control the energy wave. The energy within the crystal began forming another hologram at the center of the room. This time, the hologram was clearer, depicting a scene from the time when the ship was created. The hologram showed a galactic battle from thousands of years ago. The Black Storm was engaged in a massive space war, with energy waves emanating from the ship tearing enemy vessels apart. The power of the Black Storm had been a closely guarded secret since then. Kai, watching the scene in the hologram, could hardly believe his eyes. This is the purpose of the ship," he said, his voice filled with awe. Elara carefully examined the hologram and said, "The Black Storm was created as a warship to protect the galaxy. But there's a bigger story behind this war. This ship isn't just a tool of war, it's also a source of wisdom. It is the guardian of galactic peace and order." Jax excitedly added, "The ship, with the energy it harbors, is not just a physical force but also a guide. This crystal enables the ship to act like a conscious being. The Black Storm is both a warrior and a teacher." Kai looked at the crystal and said, "This ship could be the foundation of galactic peace." At that moment, the crystal emitted a burst of light that spread to every corner of the room. The light reflected off the walls, creating a massive star map. The map displayed every corner of the galaxy. However, at the center, the area controlled by the Zargorians glowed with a threatening red hue. Elara turned to Kai and said, "This map could help us decipher the Zargorians' plans. But first, we need to learn how to use this power. The crystal may contain that information." Jax examined the console and said, "This crystal is not just an energy source but also a repository of knowledge." With one final move, Kai touched the last symbol on the crystal. The crystal suddenly erupted in light, creating a large energy explosion in the center of the room. The crew had to close their eyes momentarily, but when they opened them, the energy inside the crystal had stabilized, and a silence settled over the room. A hologram appeared again, this time more clearly. The hologram depicted an ancient galactic leader. "You have unlocked the secrets of the Black Storm. This power has been entrusted to you to protect the galaxy. However, you must be careful in using it. In the wrong hands, it could lead to great destruction," the leader said, with a serious and wise tone. Kai looked at the hologram and said, "We will safeguard this trust. We will use the power of the Black Storm to protect the galaxy. We will stop the Zargorians and bring peace," his voice filled with determination. "We will put not just our power but also our hearts and souls into the fight against the Zargorians. The future of the galaxy is in our hands." As Kai unlocked the full potential of the Black Storm and moved toward the Zargorians' main base, the adrenaline coursing through him enveloped his entire body. The existence of a great weapon threatening the galaxy kept him moving without hesitation. But this was not just a battle. It was also a test for Kai. The power of his ship and the support of his allies were crucial for succeeding in this challenging mission, but the unity of the crew was even more important. Kai stood before the control panel of the Black Storm. In front of him, the Zargorian base loomed as an ever-growing threat. The ship's loud heartbeat reflected the tension of the approaching battle. Gliding between the stars, Kai and the crew were approaching the point where they would make a significant strategic move. Kai took a deep breath and closed his eyes. The goal of saving the galaxy shone clearly in his mind. "Tonight, we will determine the fate of the galaxy," he said confidently. His thoughts were ready to act, in conjunction with the hidden powers within the ship. He focused on the glowing buttons on the console and pressed one with great determination. Suddenly, the hidden weapons within the Black Storm were activated. Energy waves began swirling around the ship, growing into a space storm that illuminated the surrounding darkness. The light from the energy waves appeared as an aurora shining in the dark void. Elara looked at the nearby screens and said, "Power systems are online. The Black Storm's hidden weapons are activated," her voice filled with both excitement and concern. The data on the screen showed the energy rising into the sky and creating a dense ring of light around the ship. Jax moved quickly between the buttons and said, "Keep your eyes open. This energy burst will create a major warning signal on the Zargorians' radar. We need to accelerate to catch them off guard," his voice clear and fast. The glowing lights on his controls signaled the ship's strategic move. The Black Storm, channeling the surrounding energy, set course for the Zargorian base. The energy waves moved like a light sword cutting through the surrounding darkness. Kai opened his eyes, focusing on the space in front of the ship. In the outer darkness, the Zargorian base was noticeably glowing. "We arrived just in time," Kai said with a determined expression. "Now is the time to use this power." His hand moved swiftly over the console as the Black Storm's energy waves began scanning the base's defense systems. The light outside was about to penetrate the base's armor. The hologram began documenting this moment like a documentary. Under the impact of the energy waves, the Zargorian base started to tremble. All systems were being disrupted by the Black Storm's energy. Kai's allies watched the changes on the base from the screens inside the ship. Elara said, "Energy intensity is increasing. If we don't act now, the base's defense systems will detect us," her voice tense. Her eyes were focused on the data on the screen, carefully monitoring everything to ensure it went as planned. Jack said, "The Black Storm's hidden weapons will be effective against the Zargorian base's defense systems. However, the high energy levels might also affect the internal structures of the base," his hands moving swiftly. Kai said, "This is our only chance. We need to fully utilize the power of the hidden weapons. We will disrupt the Zargorians' plans and protect the galaxy," he said. He touched the glowing buttons on the console again, and the energy explosions within the ship were directed toward the center of the Zargorian base. The energy waves shook the base's defense systems, causing a massive explosion. The Zargorian base experienced a shockwave of light and energy. In the midst of the explosion, the Black Storm and its crew held firm. Elara said, "We've successfully attacked. We need to prepare for the Zargorian counterattack," her voice tense but hopeful. Jax added, "The power of the Black Storm is truly impressive. But this battle isn't over yet. We need to be careful," he said. As the energy waves around the ship began to slowly fade, Kai and the crew started planning their next move. Kai said, "We've taken a significant step towards saving the galaxy. But the Zargorians won't give up easily. Now we must prepare all our energy and strategy for the next phase." His eyes focused on the distant glowing Zargorian base, showing a hopeful determination as the battle neared its climax. When the weapons fired again, the Zargorian base shook like a lightning strike. The massive energy waves from the Black Storm were destroying the base's structures and defense systems one by one. The explosions spread like a colossal scream through space. On the ship's screens, a massive light burst and successive tremors were visible. Kai stood in front of the console, carefully observing the chaos created by the explosions. The rifts and collapses in the base's massive structures caused a profound sense of satisfaction. "We've successfully breached the base's defense systems," he said in a firm and calm tone. Elara, examining the data from the screens, said, "The explosions have caused severe damage to the energy cores within the base. Several major structures seem to have been completely destroyed." The tension on her face reflected the impact of the explosions. The data on the screen clearly showed the extent of the damage to the base. Jax, quickly tapping the buttons, was working to stabilize the Black Storm's energy levels. "These explosions have helped us overcome all of the Zargorians' defenses. But we need to be cautious. There may still be forces returning," he said. His muscles were tense as he worked the controls. Feeling the surrounding tremors, Kai turned to his team and said, "Before we get carried away with the feeling of victory, I must thank everyone who contributed to this success. This achievement would not have been possible without your support." He looked at his allies with gratitude. "What's our next move?" he asked, drawing the attention of the entire room. Elara said, "There is significant damage to the energy cores. Some areas of the base are still experiencing explosions. However, the Zargorians might launch a counterattack. We need to act quickly," her face showing concern about the ongoing threats. Jack said, Most of the systems inside the base are offline, but the Zargorian reserve forces could come online. We need to continue monitoring the Black Storm's energy levels, he said, analyzing the data on the screen showing the effects of the explosions. Ilara said, the Zargorian return may be inevitable. However, we must be prepared to seize this moment and control the damage to the base. Her eyes fixed on the data. Jack said, the Black Storm's energy systems are stable. Now, we need to be ready to analyze the effects of the explosions on the base and continue disrupting the Zargorians' plans, he said, his movements quick and careful as he managed the energy levels. As the light and smoke from the explosions slowly dispersed around the Black Storm, the crew continued their struggle. The damage to the Zargorian base marked a significant success, but they were aware that the battle was far from over. The future of the galaxy would be shaped in the aftermath of this critical moment. As the Black Storm advanced into the depths of enemy territory, the Zargorians were caught off guard by an unexpected assault. Kai utilized the ship's unique speed and cloaking abilities to evade enemy radar. However, the real challenge was to use the ship's power against the enemy base at the right moment and with full force. Kai glanced at the control panel, closed his eyes for a moment, and took a deep breath. As he approached the Zargorian base, he was aware of the resistance he would encounter. But he had one goal in mind, to save the galaxy from this deadly threat. When he pressed the button, the Black Storm's hidden weapons activated. Energy waves swirling around the ship spread like a halo of light in the darkness of space. As the weapons fired, the Zargorian base was rocked, with massive explosions destroying its structures one after another. Watching the explosion footage on the screens, Kai felt a sense of peace and relief. But before allowing himself to be swept away by victory, he looked at his allies. This success would not have been possible without their support. When Kai turned to his allies, the pride and gratitude he saw on their faces deeply moved him. During this challenging process, their bonds had strengthened. Each of them was a part of this great victory, and Kai reaffirmed his belief in their loyalty and skills. One of his allies came up to Kai, placing a hand on his shoulder. "We did it, Kai. We saved the galaxy," they said. Kai had used the power of the Black Storm to save the galaxy from a great danger. But his greatest victory was the deep friendship and trust he had built with his allies. Now, they faced a greater challenge. But Kai knew he was not alone this time. Together with his allies, he would continue to fight for the future of the galaxy. As Kai's allies embraced each other with the joy of victory, Kai paused for just a moment on the bridge of the Black Storm. As his heartbeat slowed, his thoughts swirled like a vortex. The joy of victory gave way to a profound determination as the Black Storm continued its silent journey into the unknown depths of the galaxy. Kai turned to his crew and looked at them once more. He saw the same resolve in each of their eyes. This was their shared destiny. The mission to protect the galaxy would never end. In the end, Kai found his own path. With the power of the Black Storm, he decided to bring hope and justice to the farthest corners of the galaxy. These new adventures would bring new challenges for him and his allies, but Kai was ready to face each of them with courage and determination. A new era was beginning for the galaxy, and as its pioneer, Kai vowed to bring peace and justice to every corner of the galaxy. As Kai stood on the bridge of the Black Storm, looking toward new adventures, he felt both a sense of peace and excitement in his heart. This was not just a new beginning for him, but for the galaxy as well. As Kai continued his journey, he would remain a beacon of light and hope for the galaxy's inhabitants. I hope you had a good time. If you liked my story, do not forget to comment and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye. See you in the next story.